Mercedes-Benz Van's phone line, Asher Roth joining us right now. How are you, my man? Want to talk some 49ers, but then I find out that you're buddies with TJ Jefferson for like 20 years and he was in the I Love College video. So throwing it all out the window, dude.
This is how it goes, man. And it's still baseball season for me as well, but, we can always talk Niners.
Yeah, but tell me about this TJ relationship. We'll talk Trey Lance and we'll talk Jimmy G and how I'm like the one Jimmy G fan on the planet. But how do you and TJ know each other?
I think it's just through the music and sports thing. That connection runs long and strong. And so whenever, the artists want to be athletes and athletes want to be artists. And so long and strong relationship with athletics and sports.
I love it. I love it.
What's up, Asher Roth? It started back in Atlanta with Scooter Braun, and
That's right.
Scooter had signed Asher, and I was working on a show called Yo Mama down there with Wilmer Valderrama, and then we all kind of linked up and met Asher Roth, and I was like, we just vibed. And
I would have loved to have been in the pitch meetings for Yo Mama. I got this show, just Yo Mama jokes, and they're like, sold. It was like a 5-second pitch meeting. Asher, talk to me about your 49ers. How you feeling, man?
I feel good. I mean, this is the year, right? This is the excitement. This is what all the speculation has led up to, right?
Well, as you know, as everyone knows around the NFL, all things have to run through Los Angeles. So being that the Rams are the defending champions, what makes you think the Niners have enough to get over the top, dude?
I'll give you that. I mean, even last year, just kind of running on a broken wheel, we were still able to run to the NFC Championship. I actually got a chance to go to the Niners-Rams game where the Niners clinched and beat the Rams in their home, with it being kind of 70% 49er fans. And also just eyeing up the fact that I knew Ambry Thomas was going to collect that game-sealing interception. And so that's why I feel good about it, is because we shored up the secondary. We already dominate Los Angeles as far as the fan base anyway. Most of the fans in Los Angeles are 49er fans. And so I feel pretty confident going into this. It all rides on Trey Lance, and it's a big I don't know. But if it's up to me, I feel like that kid just looks like the Lion King.
I love it. Asher Roth joining the show. He's pushing his chest out, though, even though he's celebrating December wins. We play football deep into January and February down here in L.A. I get it. It's fine. But are you excited about this passing of the baton at the quarterback position? Because last year I came on this show and said they should ride out this Jimmy G thing. Everyone in this room, everyone listening and watching laughed at me, and then they went to that NFC Championship game. So are you excited for what's happening at the quarterback position with the 49ers?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, watching Jimmy play, there's a lot of good there, specifically, in the system, in the Shanahan system. Keep in mind as we've had a very complete team. Our successes have even last year's playoffs, we struggled against the Packers, and our struggling special teams ended up actually winning that game, and defense kind of keeping Aaron Rodgers in check. So, that's why I feel pretty good about it, is because I won't slander Jimmy G, because coming from where we came from at the cornerback position and the stability that he brought for the most part, but just it's really exciting to know what Trey Lance is capable of and his potential, and to see that this year, to watch that happen. I mean, even last year, seeing him in the second half of that Texans game, these are things that I think could end up making sure that no championships ever go through Los Angeles ever again.
Asher Roth joining the show. I was about to say I love this dude for his love of Jimmy G, and then he throws in a ram shot. It's all good. Congratulations on the new video. Saw it on Instagram. Teammates taking it back to Little League. What kind of Little League player were you?
Oh, man, I was a good one. Little center fielder. I'm kind of like that vocal understanding that it's a team sport. Baseball is one of those things where you fail often, and so it's important to keep your chin up, and keep your head up. And so that was one of those things. Center fielder, kind of in the morale booster, leading off for a little bit. But then as we got older, kids just got so good, and so I moved more towards that what we like to call a second leadoff man. Down there in the 8th, 9th spot to keep some productivity at the bottom of the lineup. But yeah, man, it was good to go back home to Morrisville and just be around and see that Little League field that we were really responsible for. Our Little League baseball team was pretty good, and it was around the time where there was, sponsorship and radio funds coming in, and the radio station traveled with us when we went to states, and some of that money went back into the ballpark. So nice little scoreboard, and just a good-looking little league field there in Morrisville, Pennsylvania.
I love the record, and I love the video, and I love how sports have the power to sort of transport us to our childhood. And I feel like your music has always had sports references, sports, moments from your life as a fan that you then bring to your music. So just describe for the audience sort of your unique fandom, because you, like TJ, are one of these guys who roots for like a strange collection of teams.
That's right. Well, most of my teams are – so it's 49ers and San Francisco Giants, because my father's a West Coast kid. So he basically was like, hey, man, Bill Walsh is the guy and Willie Mays is the best baseball player of all time. So the rest is on you. And so being born 85, it was really nice because, I grew up watching Barry Bonds and, Matt Williams and those guys, and so easy to root for. And kind of same thing with the 49ers. You're kind of told Bill Walsh is the guy, you're growing up, and then in 94, I'm 9 years old, and Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Ricky Waters, Ken Norton Jr., Gary Plummer, like these guys, you're just like, these teams were easy to root for. And then you get tested, when you're growing up and the teams go to the doldrums, and it's pretty hard when they're in the cellar, but that's kind of what makes the fan, right?
No, you definitely live the real fan life. And I know as a fan of sports and basketball, you must have loved seeing Steph Curry win the finals MVP, because that video of him doing your record makes the rounds. Like I saw that 2 weeks ago and thought of you.
Yeah, you already know, man. I mean, it's nice too because, Steph was kind of counted out coming into the league, too small, et cetera, et cetera. He's really, really kind of impacted the game on much larger scale than I think anybody anticipated. And I think you were starting to see that chatter after this championship where people were starting to say, let's give Steph his flowers. So, and again, as artists, that's kind of what you want to do. I mean, I'm sure athletes, there's only so much you can do, but as artists, we want to come in and kind of impact, change the landscape a little bit. And, Steph was able to do that in athletics, so it's hard not to admire it.
Asher Roth joining the show. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich all week long on the Rich Eisen Show. Biggest 49ers fan I know, so I had to have him to set off the week and get into this football stuff. But talk to me about what it's like to go to a game as Asher Roth. Like, are you sitting in the nosebleeds like I did when I saw Joe Jaravicius score 2 touchdowns in the last game at the Vet and Ja Rule got booed at halftime? Or are you going with like the fly guy pass and you're eating ceviche?
I honestly prefer the nosebleeds. I really do. Now, there's a little bit of both. Obviously, I try to, get the hookup when I can. Specifically for baseball games, it's kind of nice to sit close and see what these pitchers are up to. Football games for me are still kind of made for TV, so I'm there more for the tailgate, if you will. But yeah, going to the games, you throw a hat on and you chill and be up there in the what are now 400s. They used to be the 700 level, but that's kind of my favorite place to watch sports, just because you see it all and you just get to hang out with the real ones.
If you had a resume, a sports fan resume, what would be on there as the game maybe you're most proud to have attended?
The game that I'm most proud to have attended in my sports resume would honestly probably have been this Ohio State-Michigan game out there in Michigan. Was just probably the rowdiest. Being in the big house too is just like an experience. Those things aren't luxurious. It's just like concrete seating and everyone packed into a place. And so I would probably say Ohio State-Michigan rivalry game. This was maybe 2018. That was probably the most impactful sports event that I had been to personally.
Just to see that energy and just to be a part of something so iconic and big. Despite the result of that game, but yeah.
Exactly. It's a little bit different. And so that stuff in, college football specifically as well, we don't need to get too far into it with the NFL, but, college football and what that culture is and what that represents to places when you go down to like Ole Miss or Mississippi State, or you see what the SEC means. Again, what TJ had mentioned about being down in Atlanta, that was the first time I really got put on to like, Georgia football and that being a religion and what Saturday meant. And so being able to experience that on multiple occasions, even doing the Final Four tour back in the day was just like, let me get to some of these college basketball games and go around and be a part of that as well. So, yeah, whenever I can align sports with what I'm doing on the road or just with my music in general, it's a win.
That's so smart, dude. You know, you think of screenwriters who want to go make a movie in Bora Bora, so they go write Couples Retreat, right? So Asher's like, oh, I want to go to college sporting events with the hookup. Let me just write a college anthem that will be around for generations.
No
when
doubt.
you go back and think of that time in your life, it's such a blur, obviously, but are there any shows or any schools that do stand out as having separated themselves from the rest? Because you must have done so many.
Yeah, it's really tough. And again, that time you're moving so fast. I will kind of at this moment give a shout out to Marquette, you know, being out there in Milwaukee and,
No doubt.
and just as a
Brockman looks so confused in studio right now, by the way.
Just a good host to what we were up to. Yeah, dude, there's just so many. Florida State is a lot of fun. Once you start getting down there in Florida, we've burned some couches at Florida University as well. It's a little lawless down there in Florida. I'm sure everybody knows. So there's a lot of stories that we won't get into right now. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to just kind of use sports as a way to also see cities. You know, but getting to Detroit and seeing how Detroit has their city lined up with Comerica Park, and then you've got Ford Field right there too. So, you know, it's a really great way to explore a city. I mean, even a big shout out to Chicago. I think it's really cool when some of these parks are right there in the city. Now, Philadelphia specifically, you know, I love Citizens Bank Park and the Link as well, and they have their own little section down there in South Philly, and it's a great way to come visit Philadelphia, start in South Philly, see what's going on here, and then make your way through. So up Broad Street if you want to go that route. And obviously, as a Giants fan, I would say Oracle Park's the most beautiful ballpark in the country.
Why Is It So Gray Out is the new album. Asher Roth joins the show. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. I would be remiss without talking some Philadelphia 76ers with you and what's going on with the state of affairs happening. I know TJ, a big Sixers fan in my life as well.
Please believe it.
Just continuing to knock on that door, huh? Nobody's answering? You can't get inside? What's happening?
Oh, come on now.
TJ, you go, man. You go.
Well, you know, it's great, right? Because now we got the news that James Harden took you talk about a hometown discount. He really did. People were expecting he could have got $47 million. People were thinking maybe high 30s. He took 32. Well, obviously for us normal people, that's an extravagant amount of money, but for someone in that position,
deeply impact the economies of Houston, Las Vegas, Atlanta. People are going to be suffering.
But think about the influx of single dollar bills that are now going to be trafficked into the Philadelphia and surrounding areas, and how many lovely young ladies will be helped. Their education will be
graduation rates are going to be through the roof.
Yeah, their education will be helped, getting paid for by James Harden. But yeah, it's great. Now we got a little bit more flexibility.
What's happening in Philadelphia with the process, Asher Roth? Huh? Is it over? Is the process done?
Oh yeah, the process is dead.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, you know, and again with these big men, you have small windows. You know, so now I do like that. You know, Embiid was kind of like, hey, I need some muscle on this squad, and they went out and got exactly what he was talking about. But
PJ Tucker,
for me, yeah. So with PJ, it feels like, you know, might be a little 3 years too late. I do not really love when franchises are reactive. You know, I kind of always dig when it's like a year too early than a year too late.
No doubt.
I kind of feel like the Sixers are on a year too late rhythm right now, but we'll see what we can do. Obviously, defense is extremely important, and James Harden playing with the dog in him is going to be really important for us this year. Obviously, I know they didn't get much time to play together. You know, I don't know as like any professional basketball player would obviously be way more equipped to talk to you about it, but how much time it actually takes to gel.
24 games Harden was in Philly, so.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, what I got to witness as, you know, I'm admittedly not an enormous James Harden fan. And so what I got to witness when you start to watch him is how ill of a passer he is. It was just like, yo, this dude has serious court vision and was creating plays. And now what I think a lot of Sixer fans wanted was to alleviate some of the stress on Embiid and just kind of get those, like, you know, 46 points a game. But, you know, I think we have to take the reality of where James is in his career and, you know, take the good and the bad of his game right now, and hopefully we can add a little bit more muscle and, you know, a couple more scoring threats. Obviously, I saw the movie Hustle. I don't know if you guys saw Hustle with Adam Sandler.
No doubt, yeah.
A little bit of love that he threw on the 76ers as well. And so, you know, as far as how far we've come, And when the process started and when Michael Carter-Williams was winning Rookie of the Year, we're much farther along the path now. But I would say, this window, the window is closing, so to speak. It's opened and now it is starting to close.
Ash, with hustle too, it's another in the long line of inept Philadelphia front office mistakes. We had Bo Cruz. He was right there. He was in-house. Yeah. And we let him go to the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
I love that. I love that too, as far as the writing is concerned, it going to the Celtics. And so, I know Jason Tatum kind of not having a strong playoff helped me a little bit better, but I'll tell you what, if it was Tatum and Embiid, that would feel pretty good. So
it's the bane of my existence.
Dude. You get a strong Marquette shout out, a Michael Carter-Williams Rookie of the Year nod, and some good TJ Jefferson college memories. I'm into it. Asher, I appreciate you taking some time, man. Where are you? Where are your travels taking you next? I feel like you're always in Denmark or Sweden or just somewhere mad cute.
Yes, mad cute is how I like to say. But we're going to head out to actually, Detroit, the Midwest for a little bit. We'll be in Detroit. We'll be in Chicago and a couple shows out there in October. That's actually an exclusive. I haven't announced those yet. And, we're right here in Philadelphia. We have Sunflower Philly. So if anybody's interested in that project, it's sunflowerphilly.org. It's just a community park that we started that's also a music venue for art and sustainability projects as well, nonprofit that we've been working on day to day for the last 3 years. It's been tricky because, for me, and TJ knows, by the way, for some reason, I thought you were asking me about Tony Jefferson, the 49ers safety. So this is the problem with call-in interviews is that I can't see TJ and give him a hug. So of course I know TJ from the comedy and art side of things, not the athletic side. But shout out to
nobody knows TJ from the athletic side of things.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Tony Jefferson, for sure. But yeah, so we'll be running around. But for the most part, my heart right now is in Philadelphia and artist development and really making sure that artists who are coming into the world in this capacity right now on the internet, around 16, 17, 18 years old, getting a break, what it might be is just making sure they're kind of prepared and have some warning signs ahead of, hey, look out for this and check out for this. So that's very important to me. And TJ knows very well how long of a and crazy a game it is,
no doubt.
in the music industry, starting in Atlanta and now back here at home.
Reinvention the path to self-discovery. Asher Roth, always working on new cool stuff. Thanks so much, dude, and enjoy this Rams repeat.
My boys, have fun, man. Go Niners.
Thanks, dude.
All right,
Asher Roth joining the show.